All right, so Senior Bowl week. Practice starts today, January 30th. Practices at the Senior Bowl are more important than the game, really. A lot of guys opt out of the game, so it's going to be important to watch those highlights of the one-on-ones that everybody likes to look at. You know, offensive line versus the D-line. On pass rush drills, there's obviously also the wide receivers versus D-backs and their one-on-one drills. And the team drills are also important to watch. But, you know, one of the more overlooked or underrated things that come out of these all-star games and showcases is the measurements. Because now we get to see what these guys really are coming in at. Their height, their weight, their arm length, wingspan, hand size. You know, if you rely strictly on these colleges, you know, media and sports information officers, you know, you're looking at their website or their media guides, and they got a guy listed at 6'6", 330, comes to Senior Bowl or whatever, and he's 6'4" and a quarter and 307. So you get to finally see where these guys are at. Now, you know, the arm span, the wingspan and the arm length and the hand, that's critical too. You get to, you know, when you think about it, it is an arms race a lot in football. And I mean that, you know, and I don't mean that as like kind of a joke. It's really, you're looking at who's the biggest and longest in terms of their arms, because as an offensive lineman, you're trying to keep a guy at bay. And if he can never get in on you and he can never get his hands on you to grab and pull and twist you, you're going to basically own him the whole entire game, and vice versa, right? If you can outreach the offensive lineman, you're going to get his hands on his shoulder pads or whatever you need to and get something to yank on and lever. Same thing if you're thinking about D-backs and wide receivers. Those are obviously big, long, huge wingspans, going to help you have a big perimeter, winning contested catch situations. Also, catching the ball in general. Nice big hands. You can soft catch, bring it in, secure the ball, less likely to fumble. Even quarterbacks, right? Nice big long pull on the ball, nice big long delivery, high point delivery, throwing up over your offensive line, better ball control with bigger hands. Again, ball security as well. So all these things are important, and we're finally going to kind of start to see what these guys really are in terms of their height and weight and measurements, okay? I got this data. This is from 33rd Team. They posted it yesterday. I suggest if you guys don't read the 33rd Team, I don't read it as much as I should, but these guys are, you know, NFL insiders. These guys are former executives, front office guys, coaches, I believe, are in there, and also some players. These guys are not just journalists. These are guys with their perspective is coming from what they've been doing in, you know, NFL, college. So it's important to read these guys, I think, because, you know, you can finally, it's not just guys who've been kind of assigned the job, you know, that work at a, you know, a media, something who works in TV or you know, ESPN or Sports Illustrated or a newspaper, and this is what they do. Forced to create content. Anyway, so they have it, yeah. So they just put it into position groups. They have not split it up into their American versus national teams, which is great because I don't really care about that. So here's the quarterbacks. So Carter Bradley is a guy who had a great Hula Bowl. South Alabama. So kind of a sleeper, right? I mean, the Senior Bowl always has a few of these guys that really show up. But I'm glad that he got extended the invitation. 6'3", 218, 9'3". Yeah, so nothing, you know, great. I mean, that's solid. Solid enough. 6'3" is kind of where I'm at the low end there. What I like to see, Sam Hartman a little bit too, yeah. I mean, for his size, he's fine. Joe Milton's kind of the physical freak out of this whole bunch here. Big dude. I think he's going to probably run in the 4.7s. I think he's got too long a limb and his feet are kind of sloppy, but look at the wingspan, the arm, hand size, just a big dude. Now, he's got a cannon. I mean, absolute howitzer of an arm, which, you know, I'm going to get a little off track here. This is the important thing about having arm strength, which is kind of the velocity, right? And again, it doesn't come down to like how much can this guy bicep curl or bench press. It's the reactivity. It's the delivery, right? It's keeping the arms in the proper slots, right? Good rotation on the ball. Is it drilling? Is he drilling the rotation, right? Is that happening? Proper mechanics. Joe Milton has the physical and the technical attributes you want to throw the ball hard, right? Now, regardless of how accurate they are, your limitation ability to do certain plays at the NFL level comes down to how fast you can throw the ball. And arm strength, everybody usually goes to like how far you can throw. Well, I don't have an amazing arm strength, but I can throw the ball pretty far. I can throw distance-wise. Now, that's not the thing. It's getting there at the right time, right? So your trajectory, right? Somebody might be able to throw the ball 60 yards, but if it's just hanging out there like a kite, it doesn't matter. It's getting, 50, 60 yards at the right time. And that's why, and that the thing is that becomes more and more important right time as you come in on the defense. Whereas the defense, obviously in that first 5 to 10 yards is where you're really going to have to be high velocity and accurate because there's more people, right? It's a higher stakes game because somebody can slap the ball, right? Tip it. There's a lot more bodies to see the ball up in the air, get an interception, right? Deep balls, obviously are risky because the ball's up in the air and people can make adjustments on the ball. But if you're just talking about just pure volatility, it's that like 5-10 yard passes, which is where the majority of the passes happen in the NFL. So if you're going to be a NFL quarterback, you have to be able to rifle the ball in there in a small little tiny windows. Like, I think people don't realize that there's double-digit percentages on screen passes in the NFL, right? Well, teams do use screen passes a lot. Now, a lot of people don't like it because it's not like, some fun, acrobatic catch. But they are effective. They're an extension of the run game, right? But if the guy who's catching the screen pass doesn't get the ball, he has to wait there 1.5 Mississippis for that ball to get there, it's done. It doesn't matter. It needs to get there like that. So these high guys who have arm strength, who can rifle it in there, have a much, to me, are more important than worrying about how far they can throw the ball down the field. It's getting there at the right time. Now, hopefully the accuracy can match. But thankfully, to me, I'd rather have to ask the guy to slow down a little bit, work on his accuracy, than having some guy who's really accurate, but just the ceiling is maxed physically. And I think we know what we're talking about there. Anyway, so Joe Milton's the guy to watch. See him progress through this. I mean, I don't know if he's got combine invitation yet, but guy to watch in the pre-draft process. I'm not saying he's definitely some guy that we should be picking up as a Patriot. I think perhaps the priority's a little bit higher earlier up in the draft. But to me, he is kind of like right after that second tier, right? Which kind of goes to these next three guys, which is, in my opinion, next three guys is Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and Michael Pratt. Bo Nix, and coming in, nothing. I mean, that arm length is a little bit of an issue, but that's been known. Hand size, not that big of an issue either. 7, yeah. Wingspan's a little, yeah, so he's just a little tight. He's a smaller dude, but Bo Nix, hyper accurate, doesn't make any really big mistakes. Now you can say, oh, it's the offense. The offense, well, he still can make mistakes. We've seen plenty of quarterbacks at the NFL level play a pretty simplistic offense and still make mistakes. Michael Penix, big tall dude, 6'2". So not really what he's labeled as, 6'3", 6'4" in some cases. So 6'2", a little bit shorter than posted. Weight's about right, that makes sense. Nice big hands though, good arm. Look at that wingspan, that's perfect. So, but he doesn't use it because he does a little sidearm, elbow drops below the shoulder. So can't utilize it. Too bad. Michael Pratt, 6'2". Hand size a little concerning. Arm length, not good. A little bit bigger wingspan, but that hand size is a little concerning for a quarterback. Spencer Rattler coming in just over 6, 219. Yeah. Running backs, not like a crazy roster here. There's a few guys that I like a lot. Rasheen Ali's, he got injured last year. I liked him before he got injured. He had an okay year, but Nothing crazy. Isaiah Davis is an interesting guy to keep an eye on. He's from South Dakota State University. Year after year of just blowing it up. Now, he's a South Dakota State guy. He's a burner. He's very quick. He's very fast. Kind of reminds us of one of our former running backs that got traded. Now, Pierre Strong being a 4'3" guy, I think Isaiah Davis is probably going to be closer to 4'5", but he's a bigger dude. He's 6 foot, 220, nice big hands, long arms, solid wingspan. So, guy to keep an eye on. Ray Davis, nice to see that he's actually out here, 5'8", 220, big dude. Dylan Laube, Laube, 6'9", or 5'6'9", 5'9". So, yeah, he was listed at like 5'10", 5'11", so nothing crazy there. Yeah, no big backs really besides Isaiah Davis. Kimani Vidal had a great season. 5'7", though. A little tank. Michael Wiley. I didn't know it. I don't think it's... Yeah, that's a typo. Mokel. This guy's from Arizona. He's a receiving back. So if I was to look at guys to keep an eye on, Ray Davis. So Isaiah Davis, Ray Davis, Laube, and then Michael Wiley would be up there. And then just to see his pass catching ability. He's Arizona, so if you want to go look him up, I haven't got to his video yet, but he's somebody to keep an eye on. And then Marshawn Lloyd, USC, he had a decent season, but the interesting guys are the two Davises and Wiley, and then obviously Laube. All right, so receivers, this is actually a decent group here. All these guys I'm keeping an eye on. Anybody who stands out, either good or bad. Jacob Cowing is 165. He's very at 5'8", 165. Yes, he is very similar to Demario Douglas. Very shifty. Started off the season a little cold, but the last half of the season turned it on. Has plenty of... I think he's over 1,000 yards and double digits in touchdowns. Basically, our Arizona's top dude, despite being a slot guy. I covered Javon Baker. Malachi Corley's coming. Don't worry, guys. One of my favorite wide receivers, just kind of saving him for later on. Ryan Flournoy, you take a look at him, Southeast Missouri State. He's going to run probably like a high 4.3. Vert's probably going to be in the 40s. His big thing is going to be his 3-cone. It's impressive in terms of what I've heard. But you can see that he's a physical freak, 6'1", 200, hands at 10 inches, nice big long wingspan, super long. Jha'Quan Jackson, that's pretty good. See, 5'9", 190, not big hands, but he was Michael Pratt's dude at Tulane, very shifty. Xavier Legette, not as big as I thought he was supposed to come in at, so that's interesting. I think he's 2 inches shorter than posted. Not a massive hand size. Good solid wingspan. He's a broad dude. But that 223 is interesting. So could be a good possession guy. He's a deep threat, though. He's very fast. I think he's at a high 4.3, low 4.4. Luke McCaffrey, 6'1". Yes, I've done a video on him. It is Christian's brother. Very shifty. And loves to find the soft spots in the defense. Haven't done anything on Ladd yet. I'm still... See, like him coming in at like 5'11", 187. Yeah, he's just a very small dude, but he's deceptively quick. His game speed is probably going to be much better. He's not going to go faster in an actual game, but he'll probably test out okay, like 4.5s probably, but then, you know, yeah, it's probably his 3-cone, his shuttle will be good, but one thing about Laube McConkey is that if you watch him in the game, his speed is good. Like, he plays close to his lab numbers. Ricky Pearsall, he probably has the best catch in college football this year. What was that against? Who were they playing? SMU, I think. Yeah. The game, yeah, Florida versus SMU, if you want to watch that game. I figured he was going to come in, 6'1", 193, so no red flags here, but a guy that might make it to day 3, might. He's interesting. I guess it's like, He runs decent routes. He seems to be fast enough. He seems to be agile enough. He's got a decent amount of tape. I haven't really watched him in terms of blocking, so maybe that might be a weakness there, but somebody I guess to keep an eye on, maybe to be like that 4th round wide receiver if we want to go, you know, get one on day 2 and then maybe pick up an early one if he's still there. I mean, him making it, he might make it to the 4th round, and that's where it would be a great pickup. And he might just be some guy who gets picked up mid-3rd round too. Brenden Rice, yes, legendary Jerry Rice. That's his son. He was supposed to be 6'3", 212. Yeah, so all right. 78 inches. Big, broad dude. Decent length, too. Hand size is good. I really like him in the 3rd for us. I don't know if he'll make it there, but that would be, you know, at this point, if we can go wide receiver, offensive tackle, and then him, I'd be happy. I also think he's just going to constantly keep rising up the board. Once he tests out, he's going to be like a 4'3", 4'4" dude. Probably in the high 30s, maybe even a low 40 on his vert. There's going to be no major red flags with this guy because he can even block too. He's a strong dude. This guy's from Georgia, I believe. I have to admit I haven't watched anything on this guy, so maybe I'll have to sit down. Ainas Smith, shifty, was going into the season with him and Cowling being the top slot guys. I think that's fair, especially the tape. His numbers this year not that great. Thrash, kind of a good deep threat guy, but my problem with him is that for being deep threat, then we start getting these issues. Barely, not even 6 foot. Not really big. Oh, look at that wingspan, though. Not bad. I mean, 5'8". Yeah, so he's okay. Tez Walker, that's Drake May's top guy. Nothing pointing out here. Johnny Wilson coming at 6'6", 237. Nice. Not monstrous hands, though. I was expecting him to be close. I was expecting him to be more towards 10. 30. There's that. That was reported that he was going to be 35, nearly 36, and nearly 85 inches on his wingspan. So, not a lot. I mean, he does look it, but he wasn't exactly false advertising. Roman Wilson, when I see him, I think Kendrick Bourne, but with better vert. So, another maybe 3rd round guy if we decide to go 3rd round wide receiver. And if maybe he makes it to the 4th. It really kind of comes down to where the runs. I think the run on offensive tackle is going to be stronger than the wide receiver because of how much we need those players in the NFL. And this is these are not all, obviously not all the wide receivers. And most of these guys, I think, can, in most cases, would grade out to be a day 2 with some of these guys being day 3. And there's definitely guys you're looking at here that are going to make it to day 4. Or day 4. Sorry. Day 2, most guys are probably day 2 picks, but are probably going to make it, some of these guys making it to day 3. All right, so tight ends, I covered A.J. Barner, one of the best blocking tight ends in the whole draft, if not the best. 6'5", 251. Small hands, though, for, I mean, his size, 9 inches. Arm length is good, though. Wingspan's great. So, big, broad dude. Still like him. Obviously, a day 3 guy. Jaheim Bell, up and down on him. I'd like him better if he showed that he was better out of the backfield in terms of blocking and possibly being more of a fullback with the H-back combination. I mean, he's being listed kind of more towards that H-back, but you know, FSU used him more of as just a receiver, like, you know, a slot guy, and does not do well in line. So his blocking ability is kind of my concern. But look, hand size, almost 10, good arm length, good wingspan for his height. So he's got a big, he's going to be a decent receiver. But for me, for the Patriots, I've drafted him a few times in mock drafts, but every single time it's like, yeah, I just wish I could see a little bit more blocking from him. Theo Johnson, underrated. Big dude, obviously, 6'6", 257, big hands, big target. Block, again, another guy where I'm like, I wish his inline blocking was a little bit better. Ben Sinnott did a video on him. Love this guy. Solid. Yeah, so look at this. 6'4", 254. Big arm. His arm. Yeah, sorry. Big hands. Arm wingspan. So that was the thing about him, which is I think his arm's a little bit short. But I see him as definitely, I mean, I would put him as a fullback with the H-back combination. Very use-checky. So not a problem. He can rip up the seam too. So he can be split out. And he can work in line. So much more of a full-service receiver tight end than most of these guys. Brevin span forward. Big dude. He's supposed to, yeah, about 6'7". Big hands. He had a pretty weak season. I thought he was going to be like in the 4th round. Now, he might be up there just because the tight end class is pretty thin. But based upon watching him this season, I just didn't get as... I thought we were going to see some year-over-year growth from him. Not as much as I was hoping. So maybe if they're waiting till like the later rounds, it would be a good idea to pick him up. He can block, but it's not that great for being nearly 6'7", 270 with 10-inch hands. It's not as impressive as I thought it would be. Jared Wiley's another big target, but he's, again, for his size, he doesn't do well in line. He's much more of a slot guy. So tight ends, maybe this is kind of that group where I'm hoping I see something that changes my mind from a lot of these guys. But they're better than I thought. The beginning of this year, I was really down on the tight end class. I had Ben Sinnott being one of the few guys, Jaheim Bell, and obviously Brock Bowers, who's generational talent at that. But then, Brevin Spanford I had listed, and then the rest of these guys kind of popping up, But he's a Penn State dude. Those guys just kind of every single year there's somebody from Penn State popping out. So, offensive line. Let's see. Sorry for the long video. I'm talking too much. 6'4", 319. Decent wingspan there for Isaiah Adams. I think he's Illinois. Center Bortoloni, I believe, right? What's he from? Wisconsin, I believe. So nothing there. Javion Cohen was probably one of the top guards. Didn't have a great season, though. But maybe the Senior Bowl changes some people's minds. Brandon Coleman, I love this guy. I had him at 6'6", so not as advertised. Monster hands and wingspan, though. And you can see it. Like, he's really long really long arms. 34 inches. Plays both guard and tackle. So he was kind of one of the guys that I was thinking, to be the second tackle taken for us. Maybe 5th, 6th, 7th round. Ethan Driscoll does come in as advertised. Nice. 6'8", guy from Marshall. Good pass protection. Look at the arms. Again, somebody that's probably going to get, if he looks good at Senior Bowl against these top edge rushers, he'll probably move from, late day 3 to being maybe early day 3. I'm not sure if he can make it into day 2, but again, it kind of comes down to how hungry these guys and the teams are going to be for getting legit left tackles. Because, like last year, if this guy was playing this guy was in the draft last year, we're seeing him, being projected to be late day 3. I think last year this guy would have been in early day 3. Like 3 rounds earlier. Just because of how, just being sucked up of how bad last year's offensive line class was, offensive tackle class was. These guys, Flax is decent. 360 though. Big American. He looks it too. He's a big boy. So I'll go take a look at him. 360. Does it carry 360 though? Javon Foster. Finally getting some. Hopefully after this week, this guy finally gets like some credit. His stats are great. His footwork's awesome, and he just seems to be super long. He's got to be one of the best left tackles once this is all said and done. And he's 6'5", 309, a little light. Hands aren't out, but look at the wing. Oh my gosh. Arm and wingspan. Check. Zach Frazier, I'm not sure if he's going to play. He had a pretty decent injury towards the end of the season. He was my guy that, like, oh man, maybe we could pick him up for a solid center. He's really good, but West Virginia just didn't get, I guess, the light that he should. Look at his hand size, though. Big, broad, big hands, nice and broad. Obviously, being inside guy, you don't need to have massively long arms, but that's good enough for me. Fuaga, probably one. I put J.C. Latham a little bit higher than Fuaga in terms of right tackles, but first rounder for sure. Coming in just under 6'6", 330. Monster hands, good arm length, big, broad dude. I wouldn't pick him in the first for the Patriots, and I doubt he'll make it to the second. Delmar Glaze. I haven't looked at him. Must be a guard. Guyton, another, probably your third best right tackle in the draft. Listed at 6'8", so 6'7", 328. Nice big hands. Solid. Christian Hayes. I'm not big on him. He's one of the top guards, if not the top guard. Who would be the top guard? I think Christian Hayes is listed as one of the top guards. He's at least top 3. Yeah, it's not going to really help out here. Big, broad dude. Heavy, but 6'2", not massive hands. I mean, he's obviously his one-on-ones are going to be critical. Ladarius Henderson. Now, he should have big, long. Yeah, he's got, look at this. Now, he didn't really have a great season at Michigan, even though they were national champions, but he'd be somebody I'd be interested in the late rounds. If he's got, I haven't really looked if he's got history at guard, but he'd be somebody I'd like. There's our boy Christian Jones coming in as advertised. Absolute mauler. Love him if we can get him in day 3. Keegan's solid as well. That's the guy from, I think, Utah. Jordan Morgan. I have him as the third best left tackle in the draft, which is crazy for a lot of people, but it's true. Again, another technical guy. Big, huge, that's big hands. Arm length a little concerning, though. Long enough. Wingspan definitely good enough, too. But technique-wise, he's great. Yeah, because I mean, to me, it really goes Joe Alt, Fashanu, and then Jordan Morgan. But we'll probably see by the end of this that he's definitely up there. Patrick Paul's kind of been the guy I've been drafting in the second round for the Patriots. I'm sure he'll probably even look even better after this week. 6'7", 333. Wow. Not massive hands, but that arm length at 36 is very attractive. And he looks it, too. Look at that. Almost 87. Monster, dude. And he's not heavy-footed. Like, he can move, and his pass set is great. Jackson Powers Johnson, underrated center. I think he's finally getting some attention here. 334, that's a big boy. Look at his arm length, though. Everybody's got their ups and downs. Punini, big dude, yeah. I should call him Panini. Pooney. Don't know much about him. These guys I'll look up today. There's Kingsley. He's another guy I would consider really early on. It's basically him and Patrick Paul in the second round for me. I'm sure his testing is going to get you. He's 6'4", 330, big hands, long enough arms, massive wingspan. He's going to absolutely impress at the combine. Charles Turner I have to take a look at. All right, I'm sorry I'm taking this long, guys. Defensive line, this is a solid group. Wow, Braswell's almost 260. Long enough arms, nice big wingspan. That'll be interesting. Carter from Duke, big long arms. Nelson Caesar, underrated edge player. Hand size, awesome. Miles Cole, 6'6", 270. I just did a video with him in it. 36-inch arms, 87-inch wingspan, crazy. Tyler Davis, underrated D-tackle. I had him at 6'2", 300, so there you go. Short arms, though. That's concerning. I mean, it's okay, because, I mean, the way he plays, it's not critical, but that's 30-inch arms is... I hate to say T-Rexy, but it's It's almost 31, but still. Dorless, kind of going under the radar. I should have probably put him in that video. He's probably a solid second rounder, but because he's got good versatility. 81 inches. Justin, this guy's really good. I feel bad. Like, I haven't covered him at all. Solid player from Alabama. Just kind of just caught up in the fact that everybody from, there's so many guys from Alabama. Numbers aren't amazing, but if you watch his tape, he's pretty good. Fisk from FSU. He's a mauler. I mean, the guy gets in there and battles, and he's hard to move. Good techniques. Gabe Hall, incredibly underrated D-tackle. Didn't have a great year, but I think his testing numbers are going to... Yeah, look at the... Oh, my gosh. Yikes. Him and Miles Cole, man. Both of them didn't have a great year, but... Now, he's more of a D-tackle, where they have Cole kind of out that D-tackle edge. And the thing is, it's funny, I would say, like, vice versa. They can both play edge and D-tackle. Probably day 3 guys at this point. He's interesting. I like how he plays, and I'm just, like, I sit there, I'm like, I don't know if it's going to really transfer to the NFL right away. Jalen Harrell, there you go. Edge guy, I just did him in the video as well. Speedster, he looks like Josh Uche the way he plays, and it's funny enough, he's from Michigan, and I'd probably put him in the third or fourth round. So, kind of could be easy Uche replacement, in my opinion. Adisa Isaac, he's climbing up the board. I think people realize that him and Chop Robinson feed off one another, and he's a big component of that. Jordan Jefferson. I'll start moving a little quicker here. I'm sorry. Here's Marshawn Nealon, one of my guys. Love him. Long arms. Look at that. 34. Big, broad. Yep. Leatu Latu. Could be a top 5 pick. Guy moves. He's got technique. No red flags. Nothing to really promote there. Keith Randolph. Jerry Newton's kind of partner in crime there. I had him taller and heavier. Darius Robinson, just did a video on him recently. 6'5", 286. Wow. I'm pretty sure that's 10.5, but maybe, what would that be? What would he be messing up there? They don't do sixths. So probably 10.5, which I think was what was reported. 34. Yeah. We won't get him. He'll probably be day 2 after this week. I'm working on a video for him. What? He's got 80 at 6 foot? Wow. I mean, he's a big physical dude, but I didn't realize his arm, his hand size, his reach, and everything was that big. He's only 6 foot. And it's interesting. It's like, he's such a short, compact dude playing at the edge. He looks like a running back. And at 6 foot, 247, I mean, obviously he's a little bulkier, but he just kind of looks like a running back getting down at the edge. It's interesting. I don't know how he's going to translate to the NFL. I really don't. But maybe this week the guy just blows people up so much. He's got the arm length, so maybe he can be one of those guys who he gets down, his pad level's just so low, he can just bend that edge and he just gets under, and he's got the arm length to keep the offensive lineman at bay for the most part, and they just can't stop him because he's just a little tank running through. Eric Watts from UConn. I just he was in my video, my recent sleeper video, but I didn't even highlight him that much because he's got the, like, look at the build. 6'5", 277, big hands, super long arms, big wide, but he just seems so lethargic and sluggish coming out of his stance. The motor just seemed to be in first gear. And his stats backed it up. He didn't really have a great season at UConn. And I don't think he was a victim of double teaming a lot. So hopefully this week, I hope that he shows up and maybe turns into something. I'm always rooting for guys from that play in the Northeast. All right, linebackers, Jalix Hunt, that's the guy we've been looking at. Wow. Confirmation of what I thought. Dude's got long. Keep an eye on him. 6'3", 250. More of an edge dude, but he can play in coverage. He was a big safety at Cornell. So the guy knows how to play. He's one of the first guys I highlighted this year. I'll stick with him. Love it. Another guy to keep an eye. John Trey Hunter is pretty good, but that's concerning because he's more of a coverage linebacker, and that's going to be a little bit of an issue. He's a good tackler, though. Tyrese Knight, underrated linebacker. Good numbers there for him. These are the guys. Trevin Wallace. Big dude, huh? Yeah. Another guy who can do some pass rush. Watson's a good coverage linebacker for his. And look at that size, 244 too. Was he Mississippi State? Peyton Wilson, 6'4", short arms, wingspan not great. That's concerning, but I think his tape and his stats just back him up as just being this guy's an absolute animal. All right, finally the defensive backs here, underrated. Cole Bishop, good safety. I've drafted him countless times. Not great there. Defensive backs. Good group here. Willie Drew. Gotta love that guy. Cam Hart, one of my favorites as well. I haven't got so many guys I haven't gotten to yet. But we still have, well, a couple months really to go before we gotta start honing in on what we're really talking about. But I'll try to get a video out on Willie Drew and Cam Hart. Kyrie Jackson, awesome from Oregon. Length and arms, everything's there. At 6'3", 200 is kind of what I'm looking for. Elijah Jones, Boston College, had a great Hula Bowl. Got him the invite here. He's probably your best safety. Definitely that best free safety. Didn't have a great year this year, but I think he's got plenty of tape to back him up. I mean, it's hard to say, like, would we take him in the second round if he was available? I've thought about it, because I think he might slip out of the first and the second. I'm sitting there like, well, would we love to finally get that safety off the board? But obviously we can't afford that. Same thing, like Kalen King, probably good corner, probably make it the second round. Max Melton's day 3 guy in my opinion, but super fast, powerful. Bo Melton's brother, I believe. Quinion Mitchell, arguably top 3 corners in the draft. It sucks because I don't want to pass him, but we're probably gonna have to. Here's another guy I'm waiting to do a video on, but Malik Mustafa. He kind of reminds me of Peppers, but the thing here is I had him at 5'11". He's 5'10"-ish, basically. Hand and arm, not so good, but he hits. This guy's a sleeper in the safety category, 6'2", 219. Nothing great here, but I'd like to see what his testing comes out to be. Was he from Oregon State? Pritchett's solid. Proctor. Oh, here's another one that I'd love to. Sione Vaki. Utah. Now, good, solid safety, right? But ready? The dude also plays running back. Yeah, and he's not bad at it, too. He's got decent stats. There's Evan Williams, Oregon. And then James Williams, a guy I really liked early on before the season started. I just don't think that it's in the cards until maybe if they can get him in like the 5th round. I doubt it though, but he's good. Hits hard. He's like almost he's 6'4" here, but 6'4", 230, kind of like that hybrid linebacker / strong safety. And that's it. Sorry for the long video, but there's a lot of names to go on. Now, overall, it's a solid Senior Bowl, but your best players still not here because they're usually underclassmen, right? So we're not going to see the top quarterbacks. We're not going to see the top wide receivers. We're not seeing any top offensive linemen. But there are guys here that are worth following throughout the week. Now, that being said, I'm going to vote that the Shrine Bowl is probably a better all-star to watch in terms of you got guys matching up with guys and it's equal. It's it's usually day 3 guys at the Shrine Bowl. And I think it's completely loaded. There's a full of guys who are probably going to be there's gonna be some day two. There's gonna be plenty of day twos, and there's usually even first rounders. I mean, Zay Flowers was a Shrine Bowl guy last year, so there are guys at the Shrine Bowl right now. They're practicing, and I don't know if all of the top guys will participate in the game, but that's probably a better fit to sit and watch and see good matchups. Senior Bowl is going to get obviously a little bit more hype around it, and again, like just running down, like especially the quarterback position. This is a solid, quarterback lineup for Senior Bowl. Now, last year there was some good guys in there, but like, can anybody even really remember who was like the 4th or the 5th quarterback drafted last year? I think you got 4 guys right here in this grouping right here that next year are going to be going into camp being like, are these guys going to be the starting quarterback? And some of these guys, I mean, obviously Bo Nix and Michael Penix will without a doubt be, these guys might be first rounders, and if not early seconds. Some of these guys might be actual Patriots next year. So it's worth watching, right? Because if you can say you get Michael Pratt makes it to the 3rd and we haven't picked up a quarterback yet, I'm pretty sure that he's somebody that they can at least bring in. And the way the guy plays, and he's not amazing. He's not blow your mind, but neither is Mac Jones, neither is Bailey Zappi at this point. It'd be a competition, 3-way competition for quarterback. That's not what we want, right? We want like guy coming in that's generational, but if we decide to go the Marvin Harrison Jr. and then get an offensive tackle in the first and second round, you might want to keep an eye on Michael Pratt. Maybe they think Joe Milton can be something, and they pick him up in the 3rd. Because I think he's probably, at this point, probably looking to be a guy that might be in the 4th. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's a day 2 pick. He's got the capability of doing it. His accuracy is, but, he doesn't throw that many interceptions. He doesn't make that many bad mistakes. It's just bad throws here and there. So if you bring him along, say he sits a year or so, and maybe, we have to sit through another year of bad quarterback play. But if we don't draft a quarterback in the 1st round, I think we're conceding that we're still waiting probably a year or two for a quarterback to fall into our laps. Or maybe they try to go the free agent market, which is not that good. So, anything else to say here? Ray Davis. Yeah, running backs. We probably need to draft at least one that can do some receiving. And this is a good one to watch. Again, Michael Wiley, Laube, Ray Davis. All decent receiving backs. Isaiah Davis is probably more... he can catch the ball. I don't know. I know it's decent in terms of his numbers, but probably your sleeper here. Won't see too much in practice because they're not going to be hitting too hard, but... maybe he gets a decent amount of reps. You guys can see how fast he is, because at South Dakota State, that guy was a freak. Plenty of great one-on-ones to be had. I think the wide receivers are probably going to beat out the defensive backs here. But, I mean, he's a ball hawk. Really good instinctual safety. Cam Hart's good, yeah. But I'm going to give the... Quinion Mitchell's probably the one guy to keep an eye on. He might move up into... the 1st. He's from Washington. He's actually pretty good too. He's a good slot guy. I mean, it's good, but to me, I think the wide receiver group's probably got him beat. So it'll be interesting to watch. I think Corley's probably the one to really keep an eye on here. There's like Flournoy being a sleeper to most people. Seeing how again, this is a solid group, but I think Malachi Corley is probably the interesting one to watch because he's such a screen guy. I'd like to see how he does in the one-on-ones. See if he can really snap some guys off on separation on his breaks there, especially at the top. Tight ends, that'll be interesting. Offensive line versus D. You have some absolute studs in here for offensive line, but I think the D line in terms of, yeah, you're gonna get there's more impressive talent in this. I guess I have to look at the actual like American versus national to see where the matchups are gonna be. But there's going to be some obvious major wins from the offensive line. Guys are just going to be studs. But then I think this grouping is probably going to have more wins. Jalix Hunt, Peyton Wilson, keep an eye there. Also, Nathaniel Watson is a late round guy. Tyrese Knight will be awesome to see how he hits. He's a big dude. I just want to see if the guy can put the hammer down, though. He's only 6 foot. But he's like a tank, you know? All right, I'll leave it there. So, keep an eye out. Usually Twitter's pretty good with that. You might get something on YouTube here and there, but Twitter's usually the guys, oh, you know, big win versus, you know, awesome, you know, highlight catch from Flournoy. Oh, I've been watching Flournoy for all year. And meanwhile, most of these guys probably can't even tell you what college he goes to. By the way, it's Southeast Missouri State. And... what was he? Yeah, he was at community college for a few years before that, so most people don't even know who that guy is. But they'll, you know, oh yeah, Flournoy's the man. We'll see plenty of that, and then like, oh, Ben Sinnott, yeah, oh, he's looking good. I've been, you know, all these people that show up at the last minute and think that they've been covering college football and been watching these guys. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Plenty of guys to watch. Keep an eye on the Shrine Bowl that's going on now. I think the game is Thursday. So their practice is going to overlap. But keep an eye there. I should probably do a video on that. There's a awesome amount of guys at that practice. Guys who've gone from showcases to the Hula Bowl, the Shrine Bowl. Lots of sleepers in there. Guys that will be probably kind of the late day threes. But again, there's some day twos and even some probably some first round picks that will come from the Shrine Bowl. So it's worth watching. And then even some great guys that'll probably get, because it's so deep, like the wide receivers. There's probably some wide receivers that are at the Shrine Bowl that are probably going to get bumped out to UDFA that are going to be worth like keeping an eye on, because the Patriots right now need all the help they can get at wide receiver, and it looks like, you know, there's some names that are going to be possibly cut. I think it might be UDFA year for bringing in several guys, you know, to see what they can do for wide receiver and offensive tackle. So definitely something to watch. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the long rant. Wasn't really structured or anything like that, so I was all over the place. Again, Shrine Bowl going on, Senior Bowl starting up. Keep an eye on both. And if you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.